This video is sponsored by Squarespace. If you're interested in an easy to make yet unbelievably stunning website or online store, Squarespace has you covered. More on that in a bit. What is up, people? Dunna here, and today we're gonna do something a little bit different than usual. I'm here in my apartment and I'm just about to set up to shoot some videos, and I thought it would be kind of a cool thing to show you guys what that process is like. I've talked in previous videos about a little bit of my lighting and a little bit of my audio setup and a little bit of my gear, but I've never gone through the entire process of how I set up to shoot a video, and I've got some new gear and some new ways that I do things, so I figured it would be kind of cool to take you guys through that entire experience. So that's exactly what we're gonna do, and without further ado, let's get set up. The first step, of course, is to put on water for coffee, just a given. So this is the space that I film in. You probably recognize the shelves. There's the desk with way too much stuff on it. It's a complete disaster right now. I got product boxes on the floor, a backpack down there, cat food. I've got stuff on my wife's desk because I just kind of take over the whole space while she's gone. Now, while I'm waiting for the water to get hot enough to make coffee, this is when I typically start to just bring out everything, all the stands and everything. So let's head over to the closet and I'll show you guys where I keep all my stuff. So this is our little storage closet. It's the only storage space that we have in the entire apartment, and it's a pretty tight space, so we make the best of it. If you look closely, you can see that I've got a couple of tripods hanging out up here. I'm hanging some cases from the coat rack. I've got an entire box full of like extras and lights and audio equipment and all sorts of stuff, but we're not gonna need any of that today. What we're gonna need is hanging out in the corner. Down here, we've got my packing blankets, and if you haven't seen my video about my 10 favorite camera accessories of 2019, I talk about these guys in there. I use them for not only blocking out light or for a backdrop, but mostly for acoustic absorption to make it sound better. But the main thing that we're gonna grab out of here is this guy. It's actually a drum hardware bag that I've repurposed to hold all of my light stands and microphone stands and any kind of stand. So we're gonna grab that and pull it out of the closet so that we can get at some things. First, we pull out the packing blankets because they're in the way of getting at that gigantic hardware bag. And then of course we need to get the hardware bag itself, which weighs quite a bit. Actually, I wonder how much it does weigh. So basically it's just over 55 pounds. Let's take a look at what's inside. So one of the reasons that I opted for this bag rather than like a typical light stand bag is because I needed something that was really long so that I could fit my C-stand in it. We'll need that. But the C-stand is just still too long to come out the top part of it, so I actually have to open up the end part. Oops. So we've got our C-stand, that's kind of my main big stand. I've got one other light stand that has a boom to it. I use that actually for my microphone. These are actually backdrop stands, but I use them to hold up my acoustic blankets. And then I have a couple more light stands and some microphone stands in here, but we're not gonna need those today, so we'll just leave them for now. Okay, so as you can see, we've got two backdrop stands. Both of them have the acoustic blankets attached to them just with some clamps. The boom arm stand with the Video Mic Pro that's gonna boom out over top of me. I've got a Falconize SO48 TD on just kind of a flimsy, cheap light stand. And then on the big C stand, I've got my Pixel K80, and that's gonna be my backlight or my rim light. So basically we're gonna take all this and we're gonna go set up the space. Now at this point, I'd like to point out that somewhere along the way, I took my water off the boil and then completely forgot about it. So I haven't made coffee. So before we move everything into place, let's get some coffee. I would love to be able to say that this only happened because I'm filming and I'm distracted and that kind of stuff, but this happens all the time. I pretty much forget about my coffee every time I make coffee. Now you might be thinking to yourself, oh great, another YouTuber who's obsessed with coffee and he's gonna make it in his videos. But first of all, anyone who's not obsessed with coffee is just not obsessed with coffee yet. And second, this is legitimately part of the process. I just wanted to give you the authentic experience. So get off my back. Okay, rant over. Let's press this press. Now before I can get into placing things, I'm going to have to clean up a little bit. So let's try something. That seems to have worked pretty well. Okay, let's get our stands in place. The first thing that I place is my camera, and the reason for that is because I want to be able to look at my frame, or at least an approximate frame, and see when I'm putting stands in frame and keeping them out and that kind of thing. So by putting up my camera first, I know where my limits are. This is a Sony a6500, as I'm sure you know, and this is the Tamron 28-75. Typically I shoot my videos on a Sigma 30mm f1.4, but I'm trying this out right now, so the video I'm shooting today will be on the Tamron. So now that I've got the camera set up, I can kind of see what my space looks like. And normally my next step would be to attach the monitor so that I can see what it looks like from the other side while I'm placing things. But I'm currently using the monitor for this, so I'm just gonna start placing things and I'll check it afterwards. I'm gonna set up my rim light first because it goes the furthest back. Now while I'm setting all this stuff up, I'm gonna be constantly coming back to the camera and checking to see where it is, if it's in the frame or if I made it out of the frame and all that kind of stuff. Up next is the acoustic blankets. We now interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to talk about the sponsor of this video, Squarespace. First off, I've been using Squarespace for a long time now, and I've made several different websites with them. They empower people like you and me by giving us the tools we need to bring our ideas to life. With Squarespace, you can get a domain, build a site, sell things online, and market your brand. It's actually so easy to make an incredible website with their awesome award-winning templates that are built as a starting point for a wide range of projects. One of my favorite things about Squarespace is how easy it is to update and change your website since you need zero knowledge of fancy coding. And if you're having any trouble, they have fantastic 24/7 customer support and tons of different webinars and help guides to get you going. I recently started using their new Squarespace email campaigns for my Dunnadidit notification squad. Email campaigns are a great way to stay connected to your community and your customers. So if you've been thinking about making a website or online store, check out the link in the description to head to Squarespace for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch your site, go to squarespace.com/dunnadidit and save 10% on your first purchase of a website or domain. All right, back to the video. So as you can see, there's just a tiny sliver of a space between the two acoustic blankets where the camera goes. And these acoustic blankets are actually kind of doing double duty. They're blocking out a lot of the light coming from the window across the room, and that's just giving me more control over the light. And then they're also acoustic blankets, so they're blocking out a lot of the reverb that's happening in the room, so I get a nice clean signal. The next thing I'm gonna do is place my light within these acoustic blankets, and this one's a little bit tricky because I wanna try and keep the acoustic blankets close, but I don't wanna have the light in the shot, so you gotta play back and forth a little bit. This is where the monitor comes in handy. So as I'm sure you can probably tell at this point, there's a lot of like little fiddling around before I get it just right. Audio is good, So at this point, I'm pretty much ready to go. I just have a couple of little extras that I like to add onto my setup that just make things go a little bit smoother. The first of which is the Padcaster Parrot. It's a teleprompter that I can use with my iPhone. So all I do is I hook this onto the lens of my camera, I slide my iPhone into it, and I control it using a Bluetooth remote, and then I have my notes or my script right in front of me. The second thing that I like to use is a USB power supply. I rig this up on the stand and I plug it into my camera, and I pretty much don't have to worry about battery. I really wish I would have had this hooked up during the filming of this whole video because I've gone through 3 batteries so far. Okay, let's get these rigged up and then we'll get going. So when all is said and done, this is what I see. You can see the little battery pack there, and this is what you guys see. This is what it looks like ungraded. I'm using picture profile 6, so it's a Cine 2 profile, but I've changed some things. And I'm shooting at ISO 100 and f2.8. And this time, like I said, it's with the Tamron 28-75 at 28. Normally I shoot with the Sigma 30mm f1.4, usually at 2.8 as well. And so that is my whole setup. If you have any questions about the setup or about anything really, let me know, leave a comment below, and on your way down, hit that like and subscribe button. I'm gonna leave links to pretty much all my gear, as always, in the description if you wanna check any of it out or buy it. They are affiliate links, so they do help the channel out without costing you any extra. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was educational or fun or something, and I'll see you next time. So during the filming of all that, I totally forgot to drink any coffee, so now my coffee's cold. Still good.